Hey guys, we are just hours away from the start of the new Premier League season, and I could not be any more excited if I tried. This is our Premier League predictions video for the 2021-2022 season. So much to go through, so much to talk about. This really is one of the most unpredictable seasons. We've got fans returning, full stadiums. Can't wait for that. Obviously, what impact is that going to have? There's a few teams that I think really struggled by not having their fans around. So obviously seeing them come back, that's going to be significant. And football without fans, it definitely misses something. Obviously the atmosphere, but I just think that interaction as well, and it's going to be really, really interesting to get back to having full stadiums. So looking forward to that. Obviously, we've had some big moves as well. We've seen Grealish go to Man City. We're on the verge of Lukaku being announced to Chelsea. Sancho to Manchester United. Big moves, big signings. How is that going to influence things? We've had, obviously, some interesting promotions. Brentford coming into the Premier League, I believe, for the first time. So, yeah, we need to talk about that as well. So, if you are watching and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe. Make sure that you're joining us. We are going to be doing so many watch-alongs. We're going to be here every single week doing watch-alongs for all the different teams. We're going to cover all of the teams at some point. But we're going to be watching BT. We're going to be watching Sky Sports. If the games are on, we're going to try and do a watch-along for them. We are going to try and just cover the Premier League. I'm just really passionate about football. So I want to just make sure that we're covering as much football as possible. So we're not going to really be affiliated with any team. We're just going to watch the Premier League. So, yeah, if you're a football fan, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're joining us. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is your team exceeding expectation? Is it underwhelming? Is there any performances that you want to highlight or make people aware of? We're a very interactive channel. The chat is on screen during the watch-alongs, for example. So make sure you're getting your thoughts, your points across. Awesome, guys. Right, with that being said, let's get to the predictions. I've already filled in the kind of bottom 10, 11, and we can do the rest when we get to them. So much to talk about. We need to kind of race through this. Watford, Norwich, Crystal Palace. Those are the three teams that I'm saying are going to be relegated. I think all three teams have had financial limitations. I think that Watford, Norwich are two sides that got promoted from the Championship this year. And unfortunately, I could see them going straight back down. I don't mean any of this as any kind of disrespect. I think that even fans of Watford, Norwich and Palace would probably agree they're going to be in around the relegation battle. They might think they might just avoid it. But for me personally, I think that Watford, Norwich, Palace will be the three teams that end up getting relegated. Watford, they were up not that long ago, and they got relegated. They're now back. I'm not seeing much being added. They've got some good players, but you need a bit more than a few good players, so I do fear for Watford. Norwich, similar story, to be honest, and they just lost Buendia to Aston Villa, one of their great creative players. That's a big loss, and to be honest, I haven't seen it kind of being replaced. They've brought in a loan of Billy Gilmore, who I think is a great promising young player and could be in the mix for like young player of the year. He was great for Scotland against England, and with some game time he could make a big difference. I've actually put him into my fantasy team. 4.5 million for like a midfielder that I think is going to play on a regular basis. Could pop up with the odd goal, the odd assist. Not bad, but I don't think he's going to be enough to save Norwich from relegation. Crystal Palace, obviously, they're in financial difficulties. Andros Townsend has gone. Van Aanholt has gone. There's quite a few contracts that came to an end. Roy Hodgson has gone as well, so they've brought in Patrick Vieira. He could help keep them up, in all fairness. Patrick Vieira could come in with some very interesting ideas. I do think Palace are going to play a bit different to how they did under Hodgson. That could take some time. They're also investing in youth. That could take some time. It might be that Palace have to go down, spend a season in the Championship, kind of rebuild and then bounce back. Like, I really think Palace, who have been finishing 14th, are going to finish a bit lower. If you're like 16th, 17th, you're really in the relegation fight. So, I think Palace could, on the last day of the season, slip into that relegation position. Brentford, unproven, but every game is going to be a cup final for them. There's not players there that I can say, yes, they're going to fly in the Premier League. Tony, their striker, you would think would stand a good chance. He looked fantastic in the Championship. If he can do in the Premier League what he did in the Championship, they're going to be in a good place. Obviously, he might struggle to do that. It might be a real struggle for these players to adapt to the Premier League. But I do think Brentford should have just enough to survive. It's very unusual to see the 3 promoted teams be the 3 relegated teams the next year. So I think 2 go down, 1 stays, and I think Brentford might just have enough. As we said, every game is going to be like a cup final for them. And I do like Tony. Norgard as well, I think, is a good player. They've got a little bit of quality all over the pitch. I really like the fact they play on the front foot. They attack. They go for the win. Little bit like Leeds. Not quite as reckless. They might just be able to pick up the odd victory here or there. Might be enough to see them stay up, but no denying I expect them to be in a relegation battle. Next up, we've got Burnley. Burnley, they've been around for a while in the Premier League, and I still don't quite get how they've been able to survive this long, to be honest, Burnley. But they work so hard. Do you know what I mean? They're a hard team to beat. And again, I think they're going to be kind of around the bottom end of the table. I don't know that they're going to slip into the relegation zone, but I think they could be in the battle. Burnley never have loads of money to spend. The squad, I believe, is largely the same as what we've seen before. You kind of know what you're going to get with Burnley. It's kind of Premier League quality, just about. Probably shouldn't be, but I think they should just have enough. I think the thing with Burnley is that, for me, they tend to survive because of the teams that come up end up going back down. And as we said, I think eventually their luck's going to run out, and they're going to be one of the teams that gets sucked into that. Could be this season. If Burnley end up, on a bad run, it's going to be very difficult for them to turn it around. And could Burnley be one of the teams that goes down? I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. Not after what we saw last season with Sheffield United, who I thought, had looked very good in the seasons previous. They ended up like rock bottom, getting relegated. Could Burnley do that this year? Absolutely. But I think they're going to have enough. They work so hard. I think they'll be about 16th. Newcastle. They've got a bit of quality. St. Maximin, I think, is a really good player. Wilson is a good striker. They've brought in that Willock from Arsenal, who was on loan with them last year, and did very, very well for them. Don't know what he's going to be like over a whole season. We'll find out. But, Newcastle, I think, are going to be down in that relegation fight, but I think should be relatively comfortable by the end of the season. Steve Bruce divides opinion, but he's been there and done it. He knows what the requirements are. So, again, I think they'll be all right. Brighton, I like Brighton. I love Basuma. I think he's a fantastic midfielder. Obviously, they sold Ben White, but they've got a relatively strong defence. Defensively, they always tend to be quite sound. So even with losing Ben White, I think they'll be okay. Midfield, I really like. Up front, they could probably do with a bit more firepower. I would say they definitely lack goals. But, Brighton are a team that, again, they could just slip down the table, start getting into that relegation battle. I've not seen them really going out and spending big bucks that's going to convince me that they're going to be in the top 10. But around 14th. I think that would be fair. Last season, I think they were about 16th. So, again, it's only because of the likes of Norwich, Watford, Brentford being around. I think that Brighton, I would expect largely the same. But I think as a result of those teams, and maybe Palace struggling, maybe Burnley struggling, Brighton just find themselves moving up. Not really because they've done anything different, but because I think other teams are going to struggle more. Next, we got Wolves. I think if you've got Jimenez, you always stand a great chance of getting a result. Jimenez could walk into the Manchester United side, to be honest. Obviously, he would struggle to get past Cavani, but Cavani can't play every game. So, would Man United take Jimenez? I would have to think so, at the right price. Don't quite know how he's going to be after, obviously, the nasty injury he had last year. But if he's back to where he was and what we know, then that is a great player to have in your side. Obviously, they've got a new manager, so it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to that. They do have quality in the midfield. They've got some decent defenders as well, great goalkeeper. I kind of feel like they're around mid-table, but there's a bit of uncertainty, a bit of unknown with Wolves. So I think 13th, probably take that, and then hope to build over the coming seasons. Southampton, they've lost Ings. That's a big loss for them. So Danny Ings was their star striker. He's gone to Aston Villa. And I think that as a result, they've brought in Armstrong from Blackburn. Decent signing. Again, can he do it in the Premier League? I would have to think so. Southampton are very good at identifying talent, bringing it in and getting it up to speed. Che Adams as well, you'd think this will be a big season for him. He was a little bit in Danny Ings' shadow. So, big season for Southampton. I just think they always tend to get their recruitment right. So, I would expect them to be around mid-table. West Ham, wow, they had a good year last year. They finished 6th. I don't expect them to be up at 6th again. But I think they could drop a few places. I've actually got them dropping quite a few places. I've got them going all the way down to 11th. The reason being, I just think it's going to be hard for them to be 6th again. That was just an incredible run, right? So I think you could say maybe 8th, right? But also they don't have Lingard this time around. Lingard really helped them in the second part of the season. They don't have him. So I kind of feel like as a result, you could probably drop another couple of places. So, 10th, 11th, I sort of feel like that's looking reasonable. I think they're going to be around mid-table. They could be 9th, in all fairness. Maybe 11th is a little harsh. But the other factor is they've got European football this time. And they haven't got like the biggest of squads. So they're really going to be stretched. So, I just worry about West Ham. I really like them. I really like David Moyes. I want them to be successful, but it's hard to see them matching what they did last year. Arsenal, wow. Where do you start? I mean, they are struggling. They are a team that is rebuilding. I think they've got some great players. I really like Smith Rowe. Really like Saka. I think Pepe last year, didn't look brilliant. Partey didn't look brilliant. And Bamniang had a really bad year. I just think that with Arsenal, they've got a decent squad. They just need to get out of that squad what that squad can provide. And if they do, they would easily climb up the table. I don't know if Arteta is the person that's going to be able to do that, but hopefully he's found a way of kind of cracking the code. I can tell you that Arsenal last year finished 8th. I've got them finishing about 10th. To be honest, I think it's going to be more of the same. The problem Arsenal have got is that other teams are constantly improving. Other teams are constantly strengthening. And I do worry about Arsenal that they're just going to get left behind. Wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal were 8th or 7th. So, there is a bit of flexibility here. But, I do worry for Arsenal. There's no real major incomings. They did bring in Ben White. I mean, I suppose that was 50-odd million. But yeah, I suppose he's Premier League proven, and he's definitely going to help them. But I don't know that it's really a player that's going to drastically push you up the table. They also brought in Tavares and Lokonga. I don't know much about those players, so bit of uncertainty there for me. I'm looking forward to seeing what Arsenal can do, but I've got them around mid-table once again. Right, let's fill in the rest of these positions. I'm going to go with Everton in ninth. I'm going to go with Tottenham. I'm going to go with Leeds. Going to go with Villa. Leicester. We'll fill in the top 4 as well. We might as well just go the whole hog. Why not? Second, Chelsea, and first, Manchester City. So this is how I've got the table looking. So Everton, I think they've got a really good squad. They're very similar to Arsenal. They've got some really good players. They could hopefully get a bit more out of them. When you've got players like Richarlison and you've got players like Calvert-Lewin, James Rodriguez, like you've got a really, really good team there. Obviously, Digne as well in defence. Like they've just got quality all over the pitch. They've got a good manager as well in Rafa Benitez. I'm hoping he's going to be able to come in and really keep the work going that Ancelotti had started. So I know that the appointment of Benitez has really divided opinion because Benitez was obviously the former Liverpool manager. Everton and Liverpool, obviously great rivals, fierce rivals, but I wouldn't worry about that. He's a great manager. He's been there. He's done it. I think this is a good signing for Everton, and I expect them to be around mid-table, but kind of building for the future. Very similar, actually, to Arsenal. That's why I've got them next to each other. Tottenham, same boat. I mean, Tottenham are rebuilding as well because they've brought in Nunes, the ex-Wolves manager. They have managed to keep Kane for this season. Well, certainly at the moment they have. Obviously, we've got Son as well, who's a fantastic player. I think if you've got Harry Kane, you've always got a chance of finishing quite high up the table. I mean, he got the most goals and the most assists last year in the Premier League. So, yeah, I can see them being around kind of a similar position to where they were last year, to be honest. I think they were 7th last year. Maybe it'll take Nunes a bit of time just to get settled in, so I'll have them about 8th this year. Leeds, I've got them 7th. I really like Leeds. I think Leeds last year were 9th. So I could see it being a quite kind of similar story. I think Leeds haven't really brought in anyone, but they have also got, great quality. They've just got a bit more stability than what we're seeing from Tottenham and Everton that have got new managers. Leeds obviously have got Bielsa, who is a fantastic manager, one of the best tacticians in the Premier League. They attack. They've got great players. They've got Bamford, who's Premier League proven. They've got Harrison, who's a great player in midfield. Dallas as well. They've got Rafinha. What a winger. What a player he is. They've got quality all over the pitch. I think they know what the Premier League's about now. I don't think they've really added anyone. No major signings for Leeds. That might be a little concern. I mean, if Arsenal click, could it be that Arsenal are like around 8th, 7th? Absolutely. There is definitely a bit of flexibility in this prediction, but by and large, I think it just gives you an idea of where I'm seeing the teams. And I think Arsenal, Everton, Tottenham, I can see them being around that kind of mid-table, to be honest. More the high end of the mid-table, but I would say quite a few of these positions are interchangeable. We've got Aston Villa at 6th. They brought in Danny Ings, Premier League proven. They brought in Buendia from Norwich, fantastic creative player. They've brought in Leon Bailey from Bayer Leverkusen, fantastic player. He was actually linked with United, but then everyone's linked with United. So I think that they've lost Grealish. It's going to be a big loss. I think, though, that everyone is going to step up as a result. I think they've been in the Premier League for a couple of seasons now. They constantly keep adding to what they've got. I think they've even got Axel Twenzebe on loan, who, great defender, really do rate him. Mings, did really well. They've, again, quality all over the pitch, very similar to Leeds, quality all over the pitch. So I really do like Villa. I could see Leeds, Villa kind of being right up there, pushing for those kind of European places. Same with Leicester. Leicester have gone out and bought Daka for like 23 million. Fantastic striker. He's going to be a great partner for Vardy. And again, they're really adding to their squad depth. Really like Ndidi as their defensive midfielder. Harvey Barnes, Tielemans. They've got really good defence as well. Obviously, they've got Kasper Schmeichel in goal, who's a difference maker. They just don't, for me, seem to be bringing in players that's going to really unlock that top four. I think, for me, Leicester are a team that's always going to be around 5th or 6th. And that's nothing bad. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would snap your hand off for that. But, I can't quite figure out how Leicester are going to break the top four. You never know with the Premier League. Of course, Leicester won the Premier League, but I'm not sure too many of us predicted that all those years ago. I can't see them doing that again, but they do have a very, very good team, Leicester. Very, very good team. I expect them to be right up there, pushing those Champions League places. They're not an easy team for anyone to go to or have to face. So, and I think, more of the same again this season. That brings us to the top four, and again, really hard to predict. I think Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Man City, I think any of those could win the Premier League this year. I think Liverpool have got, settled back down again. They've got a few players that are back from injury. I don't think Virgil van Dijk is back yet, but it won't be too long. They've obviously brought in, is it Koundé, the defender, who is going to be a very useful signing for them. We need to see if Salah and Mane can, stay consistent and be firing throughout the season. I think they will. I think Liverpool, I doubt they're going to have a season as bad as what they did last year. But the problem is the other teams above them have drastically strengthened. The other teams above them have not stood still. They've added to what they already had. So I think Liverpool, I think this is all going to be really close. Liverpool could absolutely finish third, second. They could finish first, but I don't see it. I think that Man City were irresistible last year, and they've just gone and added Jack Grealish. So that kind of makes them even more irresistible. Jack Grealish is a massive signing. Jack Grealish is the kind of player that, these big teams, they can struggle against some of the teams lower down. Jack Grealish unlocks those teams. So, and he is the kind of difference maker that, can win games on his own. So, Man City have got a fantastic player there. Chelsea just won the Champions League. This is going to be Thomas Tuchel's first season. They've gone out and managed to get Lukaku. Obviously, they've got Kante as well, one of the best players in the league, defensive midfielder. We were watching them in the Super Cup the other day. There's just quality all over the pitch. They just need to stay switched on and grind out results. That would be my question mark around Chelsea. Can they grind out results? And I think that's where, for me, they just probably slip behind Man City that have shown that they can. Man United, such an important season for them. I think Manchester United really need to be in the title hunt right to the end. They've got Sancho, they've got Varane, they've got big opportunity this year. But I don't know. I just think that City and Chelsea are just going to be a bit too strong. United could finish second. They could finish fourth. I think they're going to be comfortably in the top four. But, I feel like we need a really good defensive midfielder. I think United need that they're really pushing for the actual Premier League trophy. So there we go. Those are my thoughts. That's where I see all of the teams finishing in the top 20. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as I said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe. Make sure that you are joining us, because we are going to be here every week for the Premier League. And I want to get your thoughts I want to know what you're seeing. I want to know if what your team is doing is exciting you. Is it disappointing you? We've got a fantastic community that some people new to football, some people have watched football their whole lives. It's a real range of knowledge, and love to get your thoughts as well. Awesome. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.